Are you ready to dive into humanity's epic battle against deadly diseases? This is going to blow your mind. Throughout history, plagues have shaped societies, economies, and even the course of human evolution. From ancient times to the modern era, our struggle against these invisible enemies has been relentless and transformative. Let's start with the Black Death, the 14th century pandemic that wiped out nearly half of Europe's population. It was caused by a bacterium known as Yersinia pestis, which was spread by fleas on rats. The sheer scale of the devastation was unimaginable, with entire towns and villages being wiped off the map, spread by fleas on rats. Medieval folks tried everything from herbal remedies to quarantine, but it wasn't until much later that we understood germs. The lack of medical knowledge at the time meant that people were often helpless in the face of such a deadly foe. They resorted to various superstitions and religious rituals, hoping for divine intervention, but it wasn't until much later that we understood germs. The Black Death not only decimated the population, but also led to significant social and economic changes. Labor shortages caused by the high death toll resulted in better wages and living conditions for the survivors, ultimately contributing to the end of the feudal system. Fast forward to 1918 and we face the Spanish flu. This influenza pandemic infected a third of the world's population in just 2 years. It was one of the deadliest pandemics in history, claiming the lives of an estimated 50 million people. The rapid spread of the virus was facilitated by the movement of troops during World War I, making it a truly global crisis in just 2 years. What's wild? It hit the young and healthy hardest. Unlike most influenza strains, which typically affect the very young and the elderly, the Spanish flu had a high mortality rate among young adults. This unusual pattern of mortality added to the fear and confusion surrounding the pandemic. What's wild? It hit the young and healthy hardest. Public health measures like wearing masks and social distancing were key. Sound familiar? These measures, although rudimentary by today's standards, were crucial in slowing the spread of the virus. The lessons learned from the Spanish flu have informed public health responses to subsequent pandemics, including COVID-19. Sound familiar? Now, let's talk about smallpox. This ancient disease was finally conquered in 1980 thanks to a global vaccination campaign led by the World Health Organization. Smallpox was one of the deadliest diseases known to humanity, with a mortality rate of about 30%. Its eradication is considered one of the greatest achievements in public health. Now let's talk about smallpox. This ancient disease was finally conquered in 1980 thanks to a global vaccination campaign led by the World Health Organization. The success of the smallpox eradication program has provided a blueprint for tackling other infectious diseases. It demonstrated the power of coordinated international efforts and the importance of vaccination in disease control by the World Health Organization. It's the only human disease we've eradicated so far. And then there's polio. In the mid-20th century, this paralyzing virus was a global threat. Polio primarily affected children, causing paralysis and sometimes death. The fear of polio outbreaks led to widespread public health campaigns and the development of effective vaccines. It's the only human disease we've eradicated so far. And then there's polio, and then there's polio. In the mid-20th century, this paralyzing virus was a global threat. But thanks to vaccines developed by Jonas Salk and Albert Sabin, polio is now nearly eradicated. The development of the polio vaccine was a major milestone in medical history, and it has saved countless lives, a global threat. But thanks to vaccines developed by Jonas Salk and Albert Sabin, polio is now nearly eradicated. The success of the polio vaccination campaigns has brought us to the brink of eradicating another deadly disease. Continued efforts and vigilance are needed to ensure that polio is completely eliminated. By Jonas Salk and Albert Sabin, polio is now nearly eradicated. Lastly, the recent COVID-19 pandemic. Unlike past plagues, we've seen rapid vaccine development and unprecedented global cooperation. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the importance of scientific research and international collaboration in addressing global health crises. Lastly, the recent COVID-19 pandemic. Unlike past plagues, we've seen rapid vaccine development and unprecedented global cooperation. The speed at which COVID-19 vaccines were developed and distributed is unprecedented in the history of medicine. This achievement was made possible by advances in technology as well as the dedication and hard work of scientists, healthcare workers, and volunteers around the world. So, from the Black Death to COVID-19, science and human resilience have been our greatest weapons. Our ability to adapt, innovate, and work together has allowed us to overcome some of the most formidable challenges in history. As we continue to face new and emerging diseases, the lessons of the past will guide us toward a healthier future. Stick around for more history and science, and remember, knowledge is power. By understanding the history of plagues and the progress we've made, we can better prepare for the challenges that lie ahead. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay resilient. Knowledge is power. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.